What up, YouTube? This is Steven, and I'm back with some news regarding two of the queens of J-pop music, Miss Utada Hikaru and Miss Ayumi Hamasaki. And this article is published on ramajapan.com, so shout out to them. And the title of their article is The 15th Anniversary of Utada Hikaru's Distance and Ayumi Hamasaki's A Best. And Utada Hikaru's album Distance was it's an album. And Utada Hikaru's A Best is a compilation album. Just in case you don't know. But yeah, I'll read this article, give my thoughts and opinions as I go, and afterwards as well. Alright. And by the way, disclaimer, this article is a bit dated, but nevertheless, it's interesting, and I would like to share it with you guys. So, here we go. On March 28th, 2001, well, rather, sorry about that. March 28th, 2001 is a special day in Japanese music history. On this day, two of the rising young female artists on the scene, Utada Hikaru and Ayumi Hamasaki, released their new albums. Alright, so rewind back to 2001. In 2001, I wasn't really interested in J-pop music, and I didn't even know about J-pop music, to be honest, you know. So this is definitely over my head. I ain't know Utada or Ayumi back in 2001, you know. Shoot. But hey, I know them now, you know. Better late than never. Alright. Next, Utada released her second studio album, Distance, while Ayumi released her first best album, quote-unquote, A Best. So Utada's releasing her sophomore effort, whatever, while Ayumi is releasing her first best album, you know, her first compilation album. So I'm guessing, you know, setting the tone some more. All right, next, Utada was coming off of the massive success of her debut album, First Love, which has sold over 7 million copies at the time and was the best-selling album in Japanese history. And that is true. And she still currently holds that record as far as I know. I don't think anyone's going to be snatching that record from her anytime soon. I don't think so. Especially not in this economic climate. Let's see. Next, anticipation was high for her second album. Yep. Especially when you come out the gate and you knock it out the park like Utada did, like folks be checking for that second album, the sophomore sophomore release, you know. Pretty much it's kind of like how it happened with like Britney Spears when she came out the gate and, you know, hit like a grand slam out the gate. And so like, you know, tons and tons of records. Folks be checking for the second record because like, how you gonna top this, you know? Let's see. Next, wanting to create a rivalry, Ayumi's label Avex decided to release A Best on the same day, against her wishes. So Ayumi was like, nah, don't be releasing my compilation album on the same day as Ayumi. Well, as Utada. And I could see why she would say that. For a couple of reasons. One, she probably didn't want the rivalry. Two, she may have thought that she couldn't compete in the rivalry and may end up losing, thus looking like the lesser of the two. And three, you know, I don't think she even wanted a compilation album released. You know, I think in this article it kind of alludes to that. Let's see. Next, Ayumi didn't believe that she was at the point in her career where she should be releasing a best album, and that's true. Sometimes I do think people kind of release best of albums a little early in their careers, but I do know, like, I can kind of understand why so now because I have a bit more knowledge of the industry. Some people do it because of contractual obligations, because they are contractually obligated to release a compilation album, or at least an album in general. And as well, some people do it to kind of like speed up and end their record contract. You know, like to fulfill their record contract, they just release a compilation album because they may be like a record short of finishing their contract. So it's like, okay, release this compilation album, but now here we go, end of contract. You know. Let's see. Next, this show of force by Avex led Ayumi to take more control of her career in the future, so that she wouldn't appear to be an Avex product. So Ayumi was not feeling that, you guys. She was just like, I don't want you guys to make me look like I'm just, some Avex puppet, some Avex product. Just, I'm just here to make a check. Like, I'm an artiste. Ayumi is an artiste, Let's see. Next, the competition was fierce, but at the end of the week, Utada came out on top with a little over 3 million copies sold compared to Ayumi's 2.8 million, almost about 2.9 million copies sold. So, Utada kind of got her a little bit there. A little bit. Let's see. Utada held the record for the highest week sale in a single country until last year when Adele's 25 sold 3.8 million copies in the first week in the United States. So yeah, as Utada may know, Adele, she came back on the scene, and she was like, to Utada Hikaru's record, she just came back and was like, hello, and then she snatched it. She's like, she just said hello and then snatched the record in the first week, which is a little, a lot surprising because people didn't really expect. It's not that people didn't expect Adele to sell well, but it's just like, just in general, the record sales are really low in general, because of the because of technology and like internet and illegal downloads and things like that. So actually, Adele getting that record was extremely impressive at this particular point in the music industry. It really was impressive for Adele to do that. But the question is, can Utada come back and take that record? Because that was really Utada's record, and as well, her being a non-English speaking, well, technically Utada does speak English, but in this particular case, since she is in the Japanese music industry, she will be considered like a foreigner, even though technically she's not. That's kind of like the strange thing, because Utada is not a foreigner, but she will kind of be treated as a foreigner, even though she was born and raised in the United States and speak English, pretty much as a native language. But where I'm getting at is like, it was kind of good for Utada to have that record because she was someone who was like a foreign artist, quote unquote, a foreign artist, a non-English speaking, quote unquote, foreign artist as well, plus an Asian foreign artist as well. To have that record, that was really great. That was a great thing. Unfortunately, she doesn't have that record anymore. But records aren't everything, though. Let's see. Next, Ayumi got a bit of revenge though, when in the second week of release, she took the top spot with a little over 500,000 copies sold, while Utada also had around 500,000 copies sold, but a little less. She was like at let's see, about 504,000 copies, while Ayumi was at 510,000 copies. See, but Utada came back the following week with 294,000 copies sold, more or less, compared to Ayumi's 240,000 copies sold, more or less. So, they just, this article is pretty much just recapping the chart battle of Utada and Ayumi Hamasaki back in the day, back in 2001, years and years ago. You know. See. At the end of 2001, Utada took the top spot of the year-end album chart with a little about 4,400,000 and 4,400,000 for a little over 4.4 million. Ayumi came in second with about 4.2 million copies sold of their albums, respectively, of course. And Distance is currently the fourth best-selling album in Japanese history. So wow, Utada is like up in the area there. While A Best is the sixth best-selling album in the history of Japanese history. See? So, which one of these iconic albums do you like more? Me personally, I never heard any of them. But I would reckon that I would probably like Ayumi's album better than Utada Hikaru's album. One, because they're singles, and two, because I kind of feel like I gravitate more towards Ayumi Hamasaki's music more so than Utada Hikaru's music. But, I could be wrong. But what do you think? But yeah, as far as the rivalry situation is concerned, like people in the industry and the media in general like to sort of generate rivalries between people. And they've done it so many times, just so many times, and as well as different aspects of the industry as well. Like in the music industry, it was kind of like, oh, it's like Mariah Carey versus Whitney Houston, or New Kids on the Block versus what's that? New Edition, perhaps, or like the Backstreet Boys versus NSYNC. Britney Spears versus Christina Aguilera. Biggie versus Tupac. Just so many different rivalries. And that's what the industry does. And it's kind of like, dang it, because a lot of times I think like the artists themselves sort of feed into the rivalries, and kind of like, they feed into the rivalries, and they could be friends with each other, but instead they're competing with each other. And they don't really have to compete with each other, though, because ultimately the fans will make the decision, not them. They don't really have to compete against each other, but the media sort of pits people against each other for entertainment, And it's just a shame that some people play into that. I don't think that Utada and Ayumi played into it, from what I've heard. I don't really know of any backstage drama concerning the two of them. And Ayumi has been pretty open about how she feels. Utada Hikaru, not so much, but then again, Utada Hikaru probably isn't open about a lot of things, so this is just, one of many things on that list that she wouldn't be open about. But I guess I've said all I have to say. What do you think? Feel free to comment. Feel free to subscribe. Feel free to give me a thumbs up. Your feedback and support are extremely appreciated and extremely valued. Until the next video, adios and goodbye for now.